Let's get into our 2025 season preview.
Say it again. Say it with some more vigor.
Let's get into our 2025 season preview.
That's better.
Please.
Yes.
Where are we going to start? Are we going to start grand finalists, premiers, work our way sort of down from there?
I think we start with the minor premiers.
All right.
What do you reckon?
Sure.
I don't know.
Get my notes up.
Yeah.
Well,
I
if we
thought
talk-
about this.
I reckon we go minor premiers,
Yeah.
wooden spooners,
Okay.
grand finalists, premiers.
All right.
Okay.
Done.
And then we'll do our rises and our fallers,
Sure.
I'm here for it.
and then so on and so forth. Steve, I reckon we get you to start as our guest on the show.
Very kind of you.
Who have you got at the end of the regular season sitting top of the ladder?
Holding up the JJ Giltinan Shield after 27 rounds will be the Melbourne Storm.
I've got them too.
Yeah.
I've got them too.
Wow. I've gone Sharks.
Okay.
I think Sharks are set up to have another great year. They've been the closest side to Penrith and the Storm for the last few years.
Sharks to top it.
I think they could. I think Fanua Blake is that good of an addition. And this is just a little insight I've picked up from other, content creators, but they're very minimally impacted by Origin.
Correct.
That's
Like,
true.
Unless
That's it.
Hines plays again, I can't see that happening.
No.
Nico Hines is
Like-
about 4th or 5th on the halfback ranks.
I just think it's just like, I'd
The
feel
only other-
bad for him if he got picked again.
the
It's
only
not
other
good for
person
him.
I could think would be maybe someone like Cameron McInnes or
Yeah.
Tommy Hazelton
Yeah.
playing Origin.
And
but
Jesse
then
Ramian, but they're all on the outskirts. They're not going to
Yeah.
lose 3 or 4 key players.
Nah.
they're not in
Right.
the top 20 Blues players.
Hadn't thought about that.
So that,
yeah.
and I just think with momentum, we know that Storm and Penrith both get decimated. And if they can just build something nice, I think Hines is set up for another big year. There were a couple of doubts on whether they got their balance right. They've got Atkinson who's going to come off the bench. I just think they're up for a big year. And I think that the Storm and Penrith might stumble in that Origin period.
No, that's totally fair. I just look at the Storm and just think they were they lost to the best team in history, and their team has only gotten better. They picked up Stefano Utuikamanu in the off season.
Yeah.
Didn't really lose anybody.
Yeah.
Ryan Pappenhausen's missing week 1 or 2, so that's really it. Everybody
Yeah.
else is, and like the
But
guys.
they've got depth.
That's
in that.
what- yeah.
They've got, I think, undeniably the best spine in the competition. And then they've got like good depth around that with Tyron Wishart and
Jonah
Tailongo.
Pezzett.
Jonah Pezzett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back from ACL, so
Yeah.
I agree. That's where I'm like, and again, because Jerome Hughes is a Kiwi, like he's going to be there all season, right? Farlong or Pappenhausen probably are going to be there all season. I don't see them picking up, rep honours. So Storm.
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying they're not going to take a backward step.
No.
They're firm favourites. And none of us have picked Penrith.
Yeah. That's the other thing
Like,
I was going to say.
we just...
That doesn't mean they're going to not win the comp.
No, that's
No.
true. This
You
is
know?
true.
They didn't
This is
win
minor
the-
premier. This
you
is...
And they
consistent
will be
throughout the year.
affected by Origin as
Yeah.
always,
Totally.
as they always
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well,
there you go.
should we look at the other end of the ladder?
Let's do
and
it.
Think about our wooden spoon predictions.
Wooden spooners. Shall I start?
Go on.
Go for it.
I've gone the Dolphins. Wow. I've gone the Dolphins.
I've gone the Dolphins too.
Have you?
We've got the same.
No, we have been comparing notes, but
No.
I've also got the Dolphins.
Yeah, I just think like for me like post Wayne Bennett factor plays a part, and then I also think like we've seen like we're seeing Isaiah Katoa on like an upward trajectory, still very early on in his
Yes.
career, and I think he's been very well nurtured by Wayne Bennett's coaching. And so then to sort of like lose Wayne along that journey, I feel like could just hinder him a little bit going into this year.
I just look at their signings for this year, and it's not very inspiring. And they don't, there's talk about who's going to pair with Katoa in the halves. It could be Avarillo, it could be Sean O'Sullivan, it could be a number
Nikorima.
of players. Exactly. So they're a good squad, but I think a lot of teams have gotten better, and I feel like they've kind of stayed on the same playing field.
Yeah.
And they've already had enough issues, with like falling short at the end of the season. I just don't. And
And they lose Jesse Bromwich.
Yeah.
And have they really kind of replaced him?
That's it.
As far as leadership and
Well, it's hard to find a player like Bromwich to come in, right? You're not going to get a like for like. They brought in Saifidi, who sort of physically matches that presence, but you're right, misses the leadership and everything. But I sort of think they've been set up, you know, when they first were founded in that initial squad, a lot of them are still there. Like, they've been playing together a long time. I don't think they need another big signing to come in to propel them up the ladder. I don't think they're wooden spooners. Like, are they going to break into the top 8? Probably not. Are they going to drop to bit? Like, I think there are some other teams who are dropping massively. I'm split between two, and so I'll get your opinions on both. I've gone Rabbitohs and Roosters.
What?
I think either of them. I think Rabbitohs, I think Bennett's magic might finally run out when you've got Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell, they've lost Damien Cook.
Jeez.
I think they're going to struggle, particularly with the amount of time that those players tend to spend off the pitch with injuries and things. Roosters, likewise, the talent in their squad is so far less, and they've got no depth. Look at their spine. Who's the backup fullback now? They used to have two, Suoliti and Manu, who could step in there. If one of the halves goes down, it's an untested halves partnership, Sandon Smith and Townsend. There's no guarantees this is going to work. Connor Watson was excellent at number 9, but is he going to play 80 minutes number 9 all season and keep up that standard?
And also, just how awful were they against Newcastle in the trials?
That's what, I was Rabbitohs.
Trying not to,
okay.
Trying not to buy too hard into trials, though, because so often, I almost had Newcastle as my wooden spoon.
Yeah.
And that's even seeing the clinic they put on the Roosters. They're just a Ponga injury would sink them, and
fair.
There's so many things. Yes, I'm trying not to buy too hard into trials.
Yeah, but I know Tedesco's still there, right? But aside from him, who else is gonna lift the ball? Like Lindsay Collins is now the leader of their forward pack.
Yeah, it's true. When you look at their losses, it is crazy.
Both edges are working with new centre partnerships, so the combinations are all out.
It does.
I just feel like they're going to concede a lot of points, at least in the first half of the year.
True. When you put it like that, if you took away 7 great players from any team, you'd be like, you got no chance of making the 8.
Yeah.
You're probably going to finish dead last. And that's not, they're one injury away, like you said, from being pretty thin, especially in the halves.
And, Trent Robinson's pretty safe. If he gets a wooden spoon, he's not going anywhere. I wouldn't say.
I don't really agree with that.
If they have a poor first half of the year, he could very easily turn around and go to the board, look, this isn't going to pan out this year. It's pretty clear. We're in a massive overhaul. I'm going to bring in the young kids. We're going to just give them experience, give them time to play back half of the year. Let's not focus on results. And then set up for 2026. I
don't know how safe Robbo's job is, to be honest. I feel like with Nick Politis and that whole Roosters culture just demands excellence. And even the fact they haven't won a premiership since 2019, which from a lot of clubs sounds pretty recent. But for the Roosters, that's a while. And you they'd be going, all right, what are we doing to get the next one? And so, I don't know. Yeah, but I think missing the 8 could actually be the end of Robbo.
I don't think that Trent Robinson has to takes full responsibility. The board signed off on letting all these players go. There's a roster manager, recruitment manager. There's a team involved here, and they've landed themselves in this position.
I think the biggest thing too, this will be the first time they're genuinely under pressure of the club for a long time. They've always had big names, they've always had success, and I think anything less than the top 8 is probably a massive loss for them.
Yeah.
Even the last 2 years where they've been pretty average, they've still managed to make the top 8.
Top 4, well, was it the year before? I don't know. But this year,
I don't want to talk about player reputations too much, but you look at their forward pack, they spend a lot of time out suspended. Leniu, Radley, Collins, Crichton, they've all spent time out with.
Well, there's also been all the Leniu rumours about him wanting out of the club. Which
fractured.
It also feels very un-Roosters for there to be a public media report that makes it out of the club that a player who's still signed
Yeah.
wants out.
And he's missing the first 2 weeks with suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing everything to get out.
Well, that's right.
It does make the decision to move on Terrell May look a bit silly.
Well, that's it.
Looking back
Like-
now, because in terms of a forward pack, solid. You've lost Jared. It's like
I also think we can't be too critical on Lenu or his manager or wherever that leak came from, if it's even true, right? Because the way they treated Terrell May, re-signed him to a new contract and then showed him the door. Like, they can't now complain that players are doing the same thing.
no, yeah.
So it goes both ways. But
Yeah.
I just think there's unrest in the eastern suburbs and potentially a wooden spoons on
You've
the
almost
way.
talked me around, Harvey, to be honest. I'm like,
I'm almost with you. But it was just
You guys had no reasons why the Dolphins are going to get worse. Just other teams are getting better.
my original
and
reaction.
we don't know the halves.
I think it was just like a gut reaction of hearing, when we're talking wooden spoons, hearing
Correct.
Roosters and Rabbitohs next to each other. And if that is the bottom two, that'll be a crazy year
Yeah.
in rugby league. Wow. Shall we go to how we reckon the grand final?
The grand final, yeah. Mate,
kick us off, Harvey.
Kick us off.
it's going to be Penrith Storm, and Penrith are going to win it.
You reckon Penrith win?
Yeah.
They go 5 in a row.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
I don't think they win the minor premiership. I just think until they lose a grand final, I'm going to tip them every year.
Yeah, fair.
Until they do.
Fair.
Yes, there's been mass upheaval again. They've lost Fish. They've lost Luai. But we've said it before. Cleary's still there. And Cleary's still there.
Wow.
2 Clearys makes a premiership. Makes 4 premierships. Maybe 5.
Said so eloquently. I've got the same grand final,
Okay.
but I've got it going the opposite way. I think, often when a grand final repeats, kind of flips the other way. I think Storm are just... I've got them as my minor premiers.
Yeah.
I've also got them to then finish the job this time. I'm hopeful that they don't suffer too many injuries in those key positions. I'd like to see Pappenhausen get kind of a full year under his belt. And I think if they do stay fully fit, their team's better than it was last year. And they were the best team of the year, apart from the grand final last
Very
year.
true. Yep.
So Melbourne for me.
All right.
To break the drought. To sort of bookend the Penrith.
Yeah, well, that's it.
4
right?
in a row.
That's the sort of the
Which is what
easy
would've
narrative
happened.
to write.
Would have happened last year, obviously.
Yeah.
That didn't work out.
Again, I've gone Storm to win. So
Something about the fact we're both wearing the Plain
I
and
know.
Simple cap,
Yeah.
so which you can get at leaguelids.com.au or it could just be .com. Just Google League Lids anyway. Steve and I are looking great now, Playing in Simple caps. Harvey rocking a buy round number
round
anyway.
cap.
Yeah. Just a quick plug. Anyway. Back to where you were.
That's what keeps the lights on. And but I'm thinking they're going to play the Cronulla Sharks.
You went
Storm
back Storm to
Sharks.
play Sharks, Panthers to miss the grand final.
Which is awful. Like, I live in Penrith, so once this podcast comes out, I might get chased out. Thankfully, no one knows my address, and if they do, please don't visit me. But yeah, I agree with what Harvey was saying about Cronulla. Like, they're pretty much unaffected through Origin. If they stay injury free,
Yeah.
this could be their year to go all the way to the grand final. And also you think about that 2016 grand final against the Storm, one of the greatest grand finals we've ever had. Be good to sort of see those two kind of go up against it, but I just can't see anyone beating Melbourne this year.
There you
It's going to
go.
be tough.
I think a lot rests on Munster. I think over the last 12, 18 months, we've seen him drop away in form a little bit. Lots of injuries and obviously the rise of Jerome Hughes. Are we going to see a little renaissance from him and then get back to his best? He's got to get used to being sort of the third playmaker in the side, though, and just go back to that instinctive footy.
Yeah.
For a while, he took control of the side, but Hughes is there doing that. Grant's there running things from dummy half.
He needs to just pretend he's got Cooper Cronk, Cameron Smith, and Billy Slater.
Yeah,
with
he
him.
needs to go back to early days
Yeah.
and just do what he does when he's got the ball in hand. And
It's the wild card.
Yeah.
let everybody else deal with the game management.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so good, is that he's so instinctive.
Yeah.
He's just that sort of player where he's like, all right, eyes are up, play what's ahead of me. I know if Harry picks it up and goes, he's just going to scoot out, do what he does. If we get a bit of second phase off that, we've got players retreating on defense, we can sort of move up and forward. I can figure that out. Put a chip over the top, I can step players, I can, that's what makes Cameron Munster so good. He doesn't need to do any of the bits and pieces. That's what Jerome Hughes is for.
I'd love to see it, right? Like, he's one of the most entertaining players when he's at his best. So
Maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't even play Origin this year. You know, with someone like Tom Dearden playing so good, you know, Daly Cherry Evans is probably, if he wants to, it's his jersey. Ben Hunt, he might go, well, I don't need to play Origin this year.
Well,
I don't see him ever doing
I think he puts
that.
his hand up for it,
Of course
but
he does.
maybe he doesn't get picked.
You know what I mean? Like Tom Dearden might be in, you know, world-class form. It could be DCE. It could be, I don't know, Sam Walker miraculously comes back
That would be amazing.
on one knee and just plays for Queensland because they desperately
Makes his
need him.
debut for Queensland.
Yeah, on one knee.
In his first game of 2025. Yeah.
All right.
Would have been interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. Now, this is what I'm most intrigued to hear from us. We've decided to pick one big riser in 2020, or big improver in 2025, and one team to fall off. I've sort of treated this as like a non-top 8 team from 2024 who's going to make the 8 in 25, and a top 8 2024 team's going to drop out. I don't know if you boys have done similar, but that's how
I don't
I
know if mine falls into that strict category, but but why don't you kick us off?
Do we want to start with big improvers or fallers, or should we do both?
Just do you both.
Do both.
Yeah, do both. Why
Do
not?
both.
Okay. My big improvers are the West Tigers.
Yes.
There's almost parts of me that doesn't want to believe. And doesn't
What's a
wanna-
big improvement for the Tigers though?
To be fair, I'll take 16th.
Yeah.
I will take 16th.
So odds are they will be the biggest improvers.
But I reckon Tigers finish somewhere between 7th and 10th.
Okay.
There's something different about this Jerome Luai guy. And there's something about Terrell May's these aren't like signings that we've made before, I've got to say. I think I can subjectively look at that as a man who has believed many times before. And I can say there's something different in the water this year. You're even seeing some positive news stories come out about the Tigers in the lead up to this year's season, about Benji, for the same reason he got torn to shreds last year, about being a family first coach. Now you're seeing how it has had a positive impact in helping not only get these Islander guys to the club, but also, you know, he's a coach that they seemingly want to play for. They've been outspoken in why they signed, how happy they are. Obviously, it's pre-season. You're not going to say anything different about your coach. But there's something different, and I've always quite liked Jerome from a distance.
Yeah.
Now up close.
He's just a different guy. He's a unique figure.
If they succeed though, is that on the coaching and the player management, or is it because they've got rid of the barbershop? That's what I like.
Well, we'll never know. We'll never know. And if we don't do well, we'll never know if they needed the barbershop.
And I want them to I just want them to run out with the worst haircuts this year, guys. I want them to not have a haircut for 27 weeks.
Well, they got rid of the barbershop because they feared that Luai might cut his hair, and the magic is in the locks.
Yeah, right. No, that's fair. I can totally understand that. But then Galvin's rocked up. He's got the tips. You know, he's looking pretty fresh.
Yeah, he's looking all right. But I think that was before the barbershop got closed.
He might have been the last appointment.
They decided you got to get rid of those tips. Anyway, you got to get. Should I move on to my fallers?
Go, please.
The Sydney Roosters. Obviously top 4, 2024.
Yeah.
I haven't got like as dramatic a fall as Harvey. I haven't got him down in that wooden spoon category, but I've got him somewhere between 8th and 12th.
Okay. Missing the 8.
Well,
or maybe
potentially
sneaking
8th.
in 8th.
But potentially 12th.
Yeah.
And it's for kind of similar reasons. I think we touched on a lot of
Yeah.
them. Like, they've lost a lot of key guys. And they've sort of lost like 7 key players, and they've replaced all 7 with Chad Townsend.
Yeah.
and Mark Nawaqanitawase. But they had him sort of, they didn't really have him the back end of last year.
No, he played one game.
Played one game. So he's a new signing, I guess. But, you know, you've replaced 7 key players with 2. So does the math add up?
No.
That's it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I'll piggyback off that because you picked my 2 exactly.
Tigers and Roosters. You've got
Tigers to rise, Roosters to fall.
Yeah.
As you just said, Roosters. I just think if they get a slow start as well, like the combinations aren't firing.
Yeah.
They lose a couple on the bounce. Confidence is low. You know, it's hard for them to pick themselves back up. They haven't got the players that have been there, done that. So I reckon they definitely drop out the 8.
Wow.
I called them for a wooden spoon, but wait and see on that one.
It's probably even just as far as like quantity of like top 17
Yeah.
players. It's the Tigers and Roosters would be the biggest difference in terms of like gains and losses. Like Tigers have brought in like 6 key players and they've lost Stefano, you know, whereas Roosters, losing all those
And I
guys.
also think there's some strategic plan here, right? Like they've got to have a war chest now that they've got a few key players with the eyes on for the next couple of years that they want to bring in.
Yeah,
So,
and there may be more to come because there's talks of Justin Olam being medically retired.
yeah.
And if successful in terms of the medical
more money.
retirement, it would open up, you know, at least some of what he's on.
Yep.
So there may be more to come.
All right.
Steve, we wait with bated breath.
Well, I think the biggest rises for me, you can't really go past the Brisbane Broncos.
You
Yeah.
can. We did.
You can't.
We proved it.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
Two overrides, one. I don't know how much faith I've got in it, but I have because it's either going to be astronomical or it's going to be diabolical, and it's not going to be any in between for these two. You know, like it's going to be one or the other for the Broncos, and like the way they've gone back to back in the preseason comp. You know, winners last year, winners this year.
Well, what about the curse? What about the preseason comp curse?
Yeah.
I know. Manly in the first year didn't make
They won
the
it.
8.
Didn't they win it? They won it last year. Broncos,
won it, and then Broncos won it last year, didn't make the 8. So, but I believe in Madge. I think he's going to get the best out of these players. I don't want to see it because I don't really like Brisbane, but I do genuinely think that they are just going to come out. They're going to be as fit as ever. They're either going to get on board with what Madge has got to do, and if they don't, some players might end up leaving, and that might be for the best.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting the most competitive guys sticking out there working hard. So I'm just kind of thinking Brisbane probably in the top 4, I'd say.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And the biggest fallers, well, I've kind of gone for a team that they didn't make the 8, but I think the Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
You know, the Rabbitohs just the injuries.
They were second last year.
I know, but they just
But it's not looking good.
They were second last. Like Eels overtook them by winning spoon by.
I think it's because everyone's kind of got on this, Latrell looks great, Wayne's back. So you've kind of ridden that off-season wave.
Yeah.
And then that got demolished literally in one training session.
Yeah.
Losing
that's kinda how
Latrell
I
and
felt.
Cam Murray is massive.
But to say that they're going to be the biggest fallers means that they're your wooden spoon tip.
Well,
You've got the Dolphins there.
yes, I agree. But it's just a vibe thing, right? It's just a vibe thing, you know? It's not,
Okay,
you know, it's
okay.
just vibe, mate.
Yeah,
don't even read into it.
Where do you think they're going to finish?
Where
I
you
just need to
think,
understand your definition of a fall.
Maybe every team just stays exactly the same. So they're realistically, they've fallen mentally, you know?
I get what you mean in terms of expectations.
Yeah.
It's like Rabbitohs
Yeah.
are expected to bounce back. There's a lot of
You're,
hype
you're,
around
you're saying
them.
Wayne Bennett's going to be the biggest faller, not Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
And it's just everything about what everyone was saying that Latrell was going to win the Dally M because he's the fittest he's ever been, and Cam Murray's back and he's quicker back from this hand injury, and Wayne's there, and you know all this stuff, and then within a space of a training session, it just got wiped out, and then it's well, it's looking pretty grim now. And then you watch them in the trial, you know, they've got all this hope on Lewis Dodd, who didn't look that great. Jamie Humphries is looking pretty
looked
good.
good.
Though.
He looked good, yeah.
He looked good, but I don't know. I know they finished 16th last year, but they are still my biggest fallers.
Yeah. No,
When he
fair
goes
enough.
in
Mate,
spoon.
I almost picked them for the spoon. So,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't think they're in for a great year, but this is why we love the game. Anything can happen.
That's right.
That's exactly it. Can I just quickly back to your Broncos as the biggest rises?
Yeah.
I think one thing that could work against Madge is even if they win 3 games in a row, then they have a loss. I think every single loss is going to take quite a toll. Maybe not on Madge, but just from a media perspective up in Brisbane, the fact you've got a New South Welshman that replaced Kevy Walters. There's going to be so many media pundits that are just the moment if they have 2 losses back to back, it'll be
if they lose in week 1, it's going to be
right.
You know, there's a lot of pressure on them. And I think I know that, you know, Madge hasn't coached in the NRL since his Tigers days, and he did wonders with them where they finished 9th. But then since then, and people obviously compare when he won the comp at South, but I was look, to think that he's going to be the same coach as he was in 2014 when they won the comp to 2025 is just unrealistic.
Yeah.
You know, like people think, oh, he worked them too hard, this, that. I'm sure that's still in his DNA, but I still think like he knows how to get the best out of his players now. Like he's grown as a coach. What he's learned from being at the Tigers, being with the Kiwis, being with New South Wales, I think those are all such like valuable points. And it seems to have worked over the last couple of campaigns. I know they're a lot shorter with rep duties, but just feel like something, could, you know.
I don't think there's a team that momentum matters more to than the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
They're a confidence-based side, not
100%.
like in the way that they play footy, but also with the amount of attention they, generate in Queensland and broader.
It's probably why they had to go so hard in the preseason comp and like winning that thing.
Yeah.
It's like no team would have benefited more from winning the preseason comp than the Brisbane Broncos leading into
100%.
round one.
Yeah, I totally agree. And
Yeah.
they're going all guns blazing, and they might peter out towards the end of the year, but like I think they're kind of going on like a Storm thing where it's like, let's bank up as many points as possible at the beginning of the year because we're going to be affected by Origin.
Yeah.
And if we can kind of limp into the finals, then that might work for us.
All right. Well, now we get to the point where a lot of other podcasts and media things and social media pages and things that I've seen, people are all giving their teams of the year, their Dally M predictions. But
keeping it stock standard.
there's only one award, ceremony that we care about on this podcast, and it's the Fannies.
We love the Fannies.
And so we're going to give our predictions for, I guess, each of the categories of the Fannies. Let's just work our way through, I suppose.
Yeah.
Kicking it off with Veteran of the Year, as we do. I've gone DCE.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone got anything different?
I just went Ben Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The redemption arc.
Both nominated last year.
Yeah.
Both still old this year.
Yeah, that's it.
I had both of them, but I threw Dane Gagai in there as well.
Dane Gagai.
I like he can still do it at the highest level when he plays.
Yeah, right.
We saw it for the Maori side.
Yeah, he literally won them the game with the last ditch, knocking the ball out.
Veteran of the Year. It's a sort of hard one to encapsulate, but we've got to enjoy him for what he does and his barnstorming runs when he's got them and his hard hits and defense, and let's just appreciate it because not sure how long any of these guys have left.
Yeah, I think DCA's he won it last year. I just think he ages like a fine wine. Just gets better every single year.
Only player still born in the 80s playing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
Sad for someone born in 92 because, I'm like seeing these. My chance of making my NRL debut gets thinner every single year.
Oh, no.
It's tough, I think I've still got it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. The years are coming off quick, It's tough.
All
right.
A couple of good shouts
Best family.
Trebojevich's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A bit of manly bias.
A
in that
total
one.
manly bias.
Yeah.
But I think, having the three of them there, we've seen them on the pitch at the same time, a handful of times, maybe 10 or so. But for them to have a full run all season in the start, like Benny's got his lock on that second row spot. Now Carl Lawton's gone. So he should be a starter. If Tommy stays fit, I can touch wood, we'll be all right. They're my pick. But bias included.
Steve.
Nathan and Ivan.
Yeah, fair. We've got him. I can't remember what your kid was. No, you don't have him making the grand final.
No, but they're still great family,
They are a great family. And maybe with Jet in there
Jet,
now too.
yeah.
Well, I
Jet.
don't know if he makes a Waz debut, but
No, there must
Waz
be
debut.
there'll be some serious injury concerns at the Warriors if an
if Jet's in
18-year-old
there.
playing
Roosters might
halfback
be
for
giving
them.
him a call though.
That's yeah.
yeah, true. I've gone the Flanagans.
Oh, nice.
I've gone Shane and Kyle.
I love
Well,
that.
of course
It's
you
great.
like that.
Yeah.
I've gone Shane and Kyle. I think this could be Kyle Flanagan's best year of first grade. What are you laughing at?
Well, it's like,
What
do you
are you
reckon-
laughing
I think it could be Kyle Flanagan's best year.
It could be, yes.
It could be.
What does that look like? The Dragons make the 8. Like, where did...
They could scrape in there. They're definitely in that middle sort of contingent. I don't think, yeah. Well, it depends on how Flanagan and Ilias go as a halves combination, really.
Yeah.
You've got the experience now with Gutho and Cook. If they can, stay fit, then that's obviously the case with any bloody player we talk about. So we might as well talk about it like they're going to play the whole year. But I think Flanagan's I think he's going to thrive. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Well, he's got no excuses now, right?
No.
There's a solid team around him. He's got his dad coaching him, which he's obviously got a great relationship with.
Yeah.
And he's an established member of the side. Like, he's almost one of their leaders now. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
He's primed for a good year. So it's a good shout. Can I give another shout out before we move on?
Another family.
Yeah, the McLean brothers.
Okay.
At Penrith.
Casey and Jesse.
Jesse's got the start for round 1. Casey's
Casey's got the start for round 1.
Casey's got the start for round 1.
But Jesse's the older one.
Yes.
I think Jesse's still in the extended squad, so
You
anything
never
can
know.
happen.
But
Anything can
I think
happen.
they're going to take the field at the same time. They've got a bit of like Morris brothers about them. You know? I don't know. I just like two outside
surprised-
backs on the wing.
Surprised they didn't go for Casey and Jesse on either wing, especially with To'o out. And instead they've gone Alamotti on the wing, which
Yeah.
feels a bit wasted. And
Yeah.
then you bring Luke Garner into
Yeah,
centre.
I know.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a late change.
Yeah,
and
it
was
just
the
sounds like an
McLeans on the wing.
experience thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
wants
but
more
Casey's got barely any experience as well.
Yeah, but having one, like, you know, I
Maybe.
don't know, like,
Yeah, and Casey's represented his country.
yes,
You know.
yeah.
Is that true?
I'm not going to question Ivan and his
No.
selections.
Sack him. Moving
right.
on to fan fave coach. Now, this isn't necessarily coach of the year, but it's who do we reckon is going to get the fans on side? Is
Yeah.
there a story happening? Is there a team? You know, fan fave coach. Who takes it out? I'll go first. Benji. I'm going to go
Stunned
Benji.
silence.
I'm going to go Benji.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think he's. Obviously we don't know if Benji can coach. We still don't know
But
whether
the fans love him. It's all good. He's the fans' favourite.
Yeah.
They lost 18 in a row in 2025. The fans are still a liker.
No, I think that's where it goes along with my big rises, the Tigers.
fair.
And I think we're going to see, it's a different looking Tigers side this year. It obviously all relies on the fact that Tigers do kind of climb that ladder.
Yes.
If they do, Benji's the most popular coach in town because he's already such a fan favourite
Yeah.
from his playing days in the media.
Yeah.
He's a cool cat. And I think he's just a young, modern coach. He sort of approaches things differently. So if success comes with that, he's going to get people on side.
No, totally
It's a good shout.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve?
I went Sticky.
Yeah.
Sticky.
right.
Ricky
Yeah.
Stewart, just because I love a good blow up.
Yeah.
And he plays the media like a fiddle. You
Yeah.
know, like he knows exactly what he needs to say or do. Like even 2 weeks ago when
Yeah.
he's like just going back and forth with Adam Blair about like Blair saying that, he didn't let guys play in the All-Star game, and Ricky's just like, oh, he's a selfish like he was when he was a player. Like, I love that
Yeah.
stuff. That's
It's true.
great.
Do you reckon he gives himself a budget at the start of the year for the amount he's willing to be fined for
Yeah.
press blow-ups?
Maybe the club's like, all right, you've got 50K this year, so that's 5 blow-ups. Use them wisely. But if you only use 4, you get 60 next year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they go well this year, he might not need a blow-up. He might have 100 grand for
Saved up.
2026.
It's
Yeah,
true. Well, he's
right.
already used one with the Adam Blair situation.
that's it,
So
right.
it's like,
Good shout. I've gone with Christian Wolf. I think he
Okay.
could break the Bennett curse.
Okay.
Dolphins, they may not break into the 8, but I think they're going to have a good year. And I think he's going to, prove his worth. And I think,
To the point of fan fave status.
well, I think so. We don't know.
We
what
don't
he's
really know
like.
him.
We don't know him that much. So he could endear himself to us a lot. I think Dolphins play an attractive style of footy, and I just still think that the new kids on the block, if he can come out and get into the 8, then I think he's elite, right? Doing that after Bennett wasn't able to with pretty much the same squad, I think he'll win a lot of people over.
Not bad.
It's good diversity amongst the picks. Like, I think that's the first one.
Yeah,
where
no, it's true.
there's
We're all
real-
going different.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm here
Best
for it.
hair. Who's going to have the best hair this year?
This is
Well,
tricky. I mean, because
Kafusi obviously won it last year
Yeah.
in an absolute underdog performance.
To say the least.
To
My
say the-
goodness.
I know Kafusi won, but he's shaved that. He's gotten rid of that. I think.
yeah,
The back hair.
I didn't pick up on it. I just went for Tino because I saw he still had the mullet.
It's true, and
and
he's
it looking
back.
good, and he's back.
Because when you're on the sideline, you don't get a look in for best hair really.
No.
Similar reason I've gone for Ryan Pappenhausen. I'm backing him to be on the field more.
Yeah.
He's got a classic do.
Yeah.
He's not as much in contention when he's on the sideline.
Well,
Steve.
we're all mullets because I went Fletcher Sharp.
Off
from the
Fletcher
nine.
Sharp.
All
Yeah,
right.
one of the filthier mullets.
He's kind of got like that that Mattingly, shave those sideburns.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. He's got the classic kind of crew cut with the mullet, and like seeing him in that Knights kit on the trials with that mullet flow, and he was playing good. He was happy. I was like, yeah,
it works.
Mullets are in. Obviously, I think maybe we should all grow them.
We
this
should all
year.
get mullets
We should
now.
all get mullets.
We've got the ingredients.
We've all got
potential.
Yeah,
We've all got potential.
We only need to get rid of hair. There's no hair to grow.
Yeah.
We've just got
Yeah.
to get rid of some, and then we will all have nice mullets.
Well, how about this? All right, if our picks win
Yeah.
the haircut of the year,
Oh, but whoever wins best hair.
who wins best hair? Out
The
of
other two get mullets?
The other two get mullets.
Okay, it's not bad. Not bad.
I'm not shaking on it.
It's not bad.
It is
I'm
on
just a
tape.
guest. Don't listen to me. I've got no sway.
We're not shaking on it. All right, you're a guest. Great.
Best combo.
Oh, best combo. I forgot about that one.
Well, I'll save you what's
You
probably
guys go
jumped
first.
into your
I'm gonna
mind
go
straight
and think
away.
of some.
Galvin and Luai.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think
I like
the
that.
newest, hottest halves combination out there. I reckon. I just think they're going to gel well as well. Like they think they personality wise, playing style wise, it's going to be a good mix.
Yeah.
And if the Tigers do well, it's down to them. So
Galvin and
I've got big
Luai.
raps on them.
They could be the new Luai and Cleary. Anything's possible.
They could also be the new Caesar and Galvin.
They could be the new,
Really?
the new Caesar and Bud Sullivan.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, wow.
All right.
Wow, that was 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Jeez.
mine's a bit rogue. Mine's left field because they don't play for the same team.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
How's this going to work?
Mine's Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow and Jamie Chapman.
Oi, okay.
That's a great combo.
This is a great shout.
That's a great combo.
Yeah.
Like speed, just pure speed. Both great footballers. I just want to see their love blossom.
Yeah, nice.
I want to see them both represent their states, even though they're opposite states. I want to see them just fall in love. I want to see a great little off-field romance story between them.
Yeah.
Just want to,
We don't get enough off-field romance in rugby league.
No. And if we do, it's normally awful, So I want a good one.
What do you mean? It's usually awful, and it doesn't go well.
Yeah, just,
Ends badly.
Or
Anything you hear about relationships outside of is usually the wrong
Yeah.
bad relationship, unhealthy.
Or it's like long distance. We don't get to see that love
true.
blossom.
Yeah.
Like Nathan Cleary and Mary Fowler. We want to see more of that.
We want to see it close to
Yeah.
home.
But that's my best
Got
combo.
Millie and Adam Elliott.
Yeah.
yeah,
Is
true.
that something?
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers,
Yeah,
that's true. In the
that's it.
NRLW, NRL crossover.
They
Yeah.
walk.
Fafita's
so-
also.
Yeah.
Dave Fafita's dating. Can't remember her name, but someone from
Yeah.
the Titans. someone.
But yeah, that's. I think that. Like, I just want to see it happen.
I
Like
think this might be
yeah.
a new Fanny category.
Yeah.
Best
Love
couple.
story of the year.
Yeah.
Love story.
Love story. Footy power couple of the year.
Well, at the Fannies are always growing, so we are
Yeah.
always looking for new categories
There
that
we
could
go.
well be on the table. I don't have a combo. I've been trying to think of someone. I can't think of anyone. I'll go Luai and Galvin.
All right.
I'll go Luai and Galvin.
Good stuff.
Thanks.
Well thought through.
Thank you, mate.
Original as well.
Best character. Have you got one for us?
I
Lock?
do, yes.
Yeah.
Luai.
That's
got-
the second time you've done that, by the way.
Oh, shit.
It's just-
Sorry, I keep knocking over the table.
There's going to be some good reaction to me going on camera.
Jerome Luai. I've gone Jerome Luai,
Yeah.
which goes off the back of Tigers as rising up the ladder. Benji is fan fave coach. Luai was nominated for best character last
Yeah.
year. Went down to Brian To'o. He's just a character. He's a unique figure in the game, and I think the more hopeful success he has, or at the forefront of hopefully a potential Tigers resurgence.
Yep.
There's character there. There's character
Love
there.
it. Love it.
He's got character.
He's got character.
Steve.
I went Brian To'o.
Yeah,
Like
back to
just
back.
undeniable.
I think he's the favourite.
He's got the
Yeah.
most frizz I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like Penrith Panthers put the social video up the other day of him just like slowly walking through the pool, looking like an absolute mint, and he's just staring deadpan at the camera. He just
Yeah.
and for a bloke that drinks like 6 cans of Coke Zero before a game, like
Yeah.
that's character.
Yeah.
That's true.
That is pure character.
Yep. I went with Nico Hines.
Ooh.
He's understated. He's very balanced. He has a completely different mindset to what we see a lot of rugby league players have. He's less eccentric, but I still think he's a great character that the game values and benefits from.
Yeah.
It gives some insights to some of the harder parts of the game, particularly the mental side of things.
Yeah.
I think we just need more of that, and he's sort of the figurehead of that sort of, I don't know, more mindful, more relaxed approach.
Yeah, it's a different look on best character, but it's a valid one.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
There you go. What do we got next?
Player of the bottom 9 is tricky because we don't know the bottom 9.
No, so you got to kind of think what team is going to miss finals, but what player is going to play well for them. I've gone Clint Gutherson. Sorry, Steve.
That's okay.
I think Dragons go close.
Yeah.
I've got him sort of in that 9th, 10th area.
No, that's fair.
And I think, but I think the one man that's not going to stop, not going to give up, is Clint Gutherson. What we've heard coming out of preseason at the Dragons, him working with the sort of, what is it, the naughty boys, the squad of guys that aren't quite up to fitness
that's
standards,
right,
and
yeah.
he's putting himself amongst that group,
Fat Club.
doing the extras.
Can you call them Fat Club?
The Fat Club, sure. I don't know if you can, but maybe you. I don't know. Whatever.
What do
I won't
you
make
call
a
them,
video
naughty
clip out
boys?
of it.
Rugby
naughty
league's
fat
not really
club.
PC. You know, rugby league's not a PC sport, so
No.
it's fine.
No.
But I reckon, in
All
that
right.
squad.
Yeah, I think he's in for a good year for sure. Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
I went Jamie Humphries.
Okay.
I think he's gonna. I don't particularly see Lewis Dodd playing that much this year,
All right.
especially now because he's already going to miss the first week through suspension. So like, if Jamie Humphries comes out of the game, plays well in week 1, it's going to be hard for Lewis Dodd or Bud Sullivan or anyone to kind of get that job. And I just think he's exactly what they need, just a young hot throbber coming through, getting the work done. He could be in that, Myrtle and Cardinal, if they're official colours of the Rabbitohs, for 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could be Adam Reynolds, and I think he's got such a high ceiling. And you would have seen it last year at Manly, he looked like a great player. He did so well in the New South Wales Cup. And I just think there's a lot of ceiling for this kid. And I just hope he plays really well.
I think he's ready for NRL. Like he's
I agree.
had a couple of years maturing. He's been in and around squads like Manly for the last couple of years. He's on the cusp, and I think he's ready to take that opportunity. So great shout. I've said great shout about 10 times.
Well, there's been a lot of great shouts.
There has been. I know.
There's been a
I'm
lot
just
of great
clocking it in my head. I went for Tedesco.
Oh, that's a great shout.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Tedesco.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
think Roosters are going to miss out, but he's not, as a bit like Clint Gutherson, not going to stop trying. He's the leader. He's the spark. I think everything good that happens at the Roosters this year is going to happen around him. So, it's not often he'd be nominated for Player of the Bottom 9, so I'm going to take my chance and put him up for it.
Well, also one of the reasons you gave why Roosters might get the spoon is that they've got no depth at fullback. So that's you suggesting that Tedesco is actually going to get injured and spend a bit of time on the sidelines, which might put him out of contention for Player of the Bottom 9. I don't know.
Potentially. Yeah, but my comment earlier was more around like they've got these outside backs, these X factors who can get in a fullback position and play. They weren't necessarily going to take over Tedesco's spot or fill his void. But you're right. If he's fit and if he's playing.
Yeah. And even if he's playing bad, like you said, they're not going to replace him.
No.
Well, they've got no option now.
And no option. Sweet.
Okay.
This buy of the year.
Buy of the year.
That's what we're going to.
Best recruits.
Yeah. Have you got one?
You kick us off.
Clint Gutherson.
Oh, yeah. Fair.
I think reading into what he's been saying and just giving a new lease on life to a player who's been at a club for so long, who's kind of reached the heights that he's done. He's played, rep football because of his time at Parramatta. He's been to the grand final. He would have known everything about Parramatta inside and out. And just sometimes that's just all a player needs, just to really kind of have a new lease on life. And I think he's going to suit how Flanagan's going to run the team. I think he's going to be a great support player. He's going to be exactly what the Dragons need. We've kind of haven't had a good number one for a while now. Terrell Sloan's kind of fringy.
Yeah.
I just think he's going to be exactly what they need. And one thing you can never give crap about to Gutho is effort.
Yeah.
He's such an effort player, and we kind of lack that a lot. The Dragons kind of lack that a lot. So I think if we can get some guy who's going to get in just 110% every week, put his body on the line for the club, buy the year.
By the year.
Harvey?
I went Adam Fanua-Blake.
Yeah.
I think he's such an exciting player. He's been at the top of his game for some time, and the Sharks feels like such a well-oiled machine at the moment that he just slots right in, becomes the figurehead of that forward pack, which is massive anyway. Like, he's got a supporting cast. And not to say he hasn't had that elsewhere, but I can't see him taking a backward step. He's still the best prop in the game, in my opinion. And I think the Sharks are going to benefit massively from it, especially with, I've tipped them for the minor premiership, so he better be good.
He doesn't have a choice.
He doesn't have a choice.
He knows that Harvey's got him, you know. He's like, mate, you can't let me down.
I think in the interest of trying to like give these awards out to different people, I've gone for like I've gone for the modern approach of everyone gets a trophy. So I probably almost would have gone Clint Gutherson actually, because considering the reasons I gave for player of the bottom nine, I pretty much would give him by the year. But I've gone for Ben Hunt at the Broncos. I think like the considering all the drama that happened with Ezra Mam, signing Ben Hunt's kind of like shut that up for a second. It's kind of just like gone.
It's the best safety net.
It's kind of made us go like, instead of us chatting in the lead up to this preseason, like, is Ezra going to play? When's he going to come back? How are they going to go without him? We kind of like almost go, oh, true. Like oh well, Ben Hunt will be there.
Yeah.
And then Ezra will come back and only boost that side or just be another depth option, really, depending on how Ben's going or if he wants to shift a hooker.
Yeah.
Or if Reynolds is fit. Obviously there's a lot of ifs there.
Yeah.
But I just think, this is what's going to, having that experience, he's still such a gun player and take him to that next level, back to where they were a couple of years ago, potentially.
Yeah. I hope it's a happy return for him. Like, I think he deserves it, right? Like, he's had a fair bit of hard luck throughout his career. Well, not hard luck, bad luck.
I mean,
like,
I don't necessarily want it for him.
Yeah, right.
Well, I just think he was some of the way that he sort of carried on a bit at the Dragons. I mean that was the way to go.
That dragged out for a long time.
And he was the captain of the club, and he never really kind of came forward and put fans' minds at ease or put anyone in the club's kind of mind at ease. So it wasn't really. Yeah. But I still think he's a great player. So
he's also only about 7 or 8 losses away from being the player who's lost the most games in NRL history.
Is that right?
Yeah. Do you want to take a stab at who's number one?
Most losses in
Luke
NRL
Brooks.
history?
Most losses in NRL history.
Luke Brooks wouldn't have played enough yet.
But he's lost a lot.
He has lost a lot.
He might not have played
He has
as
lost
many.
a lot.
Most
This
losses.
player is retired. This player has won a premiership also,
Retired and has won a premiership.
but is also the biggest loser.
I feel like it's like a Tigers 05.
Is it a Tigers player?
No, it's good.
Ooh.
No.
Paul Gallen.
Paul Gallen. The Sharks were quite abysmal for a long time.
Yeah, you
he
forget
was kind of there through the awful times, and then he kind of
Went out on a high.
Yeah, just when they were kind of around, all that stuff.
And if you include Origins in that too, it only furthers how many losses.
Yeah, maybe Ben Hunt will never get there if we include Origins.
Great stat.
That's a good stat. All right, into the sort of the team awards.
Yeah, forward pack.
Forward pack of the year. I've gone the Penrith Panthers.
Okay.
I even though they lose Fisher Harris, I still just think they've got such a solid forward pack. And like Liam Martin, he's only getting better. Isaiah Yeo is just the most solid player in the NRL as far as consistency and like defined role within that team. Leota, I think, is going to only, added sort of responsibility, I think, will help him as well.
I think we'll see how good Leota is this year. I think he's been underrated and overshadowed by Fish for a long time. And, I don't necessarily think he's going to get much better than what he's already played at, but he's going to be more salient in that side. And,
And Luke Garner seems to also be getting more comfortable in that side as well. So
and Isaiah Papali'i joining as well.
Papali'i joining, I think
it's a good pick. I haven't gone for them. I went for Melbourne. Tutua Kamanu coming in.
Yeah, interesting.
Sean Blaw and Katoa in that second row. Trent Liero had a breakout year. He was on the cusp of Origin.
That's fair.
I just think they're pretty well established, and I just tip them just above Penrith.
Yeah. They got Nelson there as well still.
Nelson's there. Tui Kamikamitha. Is that how you say that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard a commentator say it. So trusted my gut on that one.
Actually, can I give a quick plug? Actually, I should have said this at the start because Steve has put out a whole NRL pronunciation guide
Can I have a look?
of every player. It's available. You write for Sports Freak.
Yep, sportsfreak.co.nz is
Your article's up there.
Yep.
With the link to it.
Took a long time to record every single player's name and also phonetically spell it all out, but I think it's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So just doing the footy lord's work.
So from now on, if we've got
Yeah.
So there's an audio file. You can go on and listen to how the
Click it,
names.
yeah. It's all in like a little Google Drive. I do want to
Yeah.
get it on my own website, but
Fantastic.
yeah.
Oh, mate.
Any web builders out there listening, give me a shout. Yeah. Slide into my DMs, that'd be great.
But yes, so whenever we've got content surrounding a player that we're a little bit unsure,
Yeah.
that's where we're going.
Well, I'm only going to be calling Mark at the Roosters until I've had a look at this.
Yeah.
Fair.
enough.
I went forward pack of the year to Manly.
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree, but yes, we can get around it.
I think the Travojevic brothers,
Yeah.
Siwa Takiaho, Haumoli Olakauatu, like,
Gerbo.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
You said Trebojevic
Yeah.
brothers.
they're just I really like the look of Manly's forward pack, and it's just another year they've got together.
Yeah.
And like I just like Nathan Brown, is such a good influence for them as well.
I think we've got a great balance in there at the moment, and I don't think we need another. I don't think we need to change it up for it to be a premiership winning forward pack.
Taniela Paseka,
Toff Sipley
Yep.
do a lot of hard work, big bodies. Gerbo's obviously massive defensively, but we've got Jazz Tafanga coming in there as
Yeah.
well, who I
True.
think is going to play a loose forward role. I know he's been named at hooker a lot, but he might do a spell there. Nathan Brown brings exactly that mongrel that we need, and Olakauatu, if they're, I think he's close to Liam Martin as the best second rower in the game. He probably hasn't played consistently at the top level enough, but on his day,
he's definitely the most dynamic.
Yeah.
I think between him and Koloa Matangi at South, so they're kind of like the two guys that I don't ever want to be tackled by. Because they'll hurt me, but also they'll beat me with their footwork on attack as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to chuck Angus Crichton in there as well, I think.
Yeah.
We're just naming.
it
row.
rounds out the podium.
I would say that's, hard on Liam Martin, but those would probably be top four guys in second row position. So I just think Manly, I think their forward pack's going to be really good this year.
Yeah, good shout.
Wow. Well, no, you can say good shout, Harvey. You can say
I shouldn't shame
It's a good
myself into
shout. It's a
saying
good
the same
shout. Maybe we'll have a little counter on the screen.
I'm not going through and counting that. Backline of the year. Well, speaking of, I'll kick this one off because I've gone Manly
Yes.
for backline.
So
So
have
between
I.
the two of us, you've gone Manly as
Yeah,
well.
backline,
But I
yeah.
think Manly have all the pieces. They've got all the ingredients to have the best backline
Yeah.
of the year.
Yeah.
They just got to get it right.
Yeah.
And I think, and I've said this before, I think part of getting it right is having Tommy Turbo not at fullback. I think, which,
I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't think it'll
All the
start
talk,
that way, but
yeah.
it could happen.
What's your ideal backline?
This is my ideal backline. Is Lehigh Hopewadi even in the top 30 official squad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because there was something about him. Like,
He's about to sign
being
an
upgraded.
extension as well.
Okay. Lehigh Hopewadi's at fullback. Then I've got a centre pairing of Tommy Trebojevic and Kula.
Yeah.
And then on the wings, I've got Ruben Garrick and Jason Saab.
Okay.
No room for Tommy Talau?
Tommy Talau, he's depth.
Yeah.
He's depth there.
He had a great year last
depth.
year.
Yeah, he's good depth, but
He was
yeah.
really good. He's hard luck to miss out this year, but I think he does.
I think that's what makes
like-
a good side.
But I go like, on the end of a backline play, Garrick or Talau. I think, you get a similar result out of either of them.
What Talau brings more than Saab and Hopewadi, who are the current sort of incumbents on the wing, is bringing the ball back from a kick return. Like he's a bigger body, bigger frame. He gets through those hard carries much better.
Okay.
And I think that's really valuable, and that's something that Seabold can turn to. But yeah, I think he does just miss out.
Well, the other option then would be to maybe Lehigh's a bit of depth just because he's a bit younger, less experienced.
Yeah.
And you put Cooler at fullback. Then you've got Garrick at centre with Tommy Turbo. And then you've got Talau and Saab on the wings.
like you said, it's about getting it right.
Yeah,
They've got all the ingredients. There's a
100%.
lot of talent and speed
that's
there.
right.
So Manly for me.
Yeah, I agree with the sentiment about they got to get all the pieces right because it's the Gold Coast Titans.
Yeah, okay, for the back line.
Because I just think between like Keanu Kini, AJ Brimson, Jaden Campbell, Brian Kelly, Alofiana Camperera, Carter Gordon could be playing.
Now, some of these
Kieran
guys you
Warren.
mentioned, though, are in the spine, which is a separate category.
I agree, but also but the whole thing, like I just think of the speed that they have is much like Manly, right? Where you've got because Campbell could play 1 or 6, Brimson could play 1 or 6, or they could even play in the centres. Either of them could play in the centres. Either of them could play on the wing. I just think the speed and getting it right, if they can somehow because I think Brimson's got to be in there somewhere. I don't know where it works. Carter Gordon's going to be a pretty good prospect. I don't know where he's going to go. I believe in them.
Yeah.
And I want it to work. I just don't know if it will. But I think if they get it right, they've got so much speed and so much talent that they could really just.
I think
turn it
Khan
on.
Pereira's been, he's been top of the try scorer tally for the last couple of years, right up there. But he really is underrated just because he plays for the Titans, really.
That's it.
If he was in a Storm system or something, he'd be elite.
Yeah, I agree. And
so he could be, the X factor that they need to capitalize on whatever they do in the middle.
That's it. And someone like Brian Kelly too, you'll get 5 good games out of him and then 5 kind of average games out of him. If he could give you 10 good games and 1 bad game, that could.
I've always liked him. I liked him when he was at Manly.
Yeah,
I
he
was
was a great
sad to see
player.
him go. And I think he keeps maturing. It's that consistency, right? And that's hard for any player at that level to find. But yeah, all right, Titans.
Oh, I forgot you went Manly.
Yeah,
as
I
well
went
for your
Manly.
back line. I was waiting for your.
No, I jumped in with you.
Okay.
But we can talk spine.
You kick us off then. Spine.
Storm.
Same.
It's so
Same.
hard
Hey,
to go
it's our
anywhere
first.
else.
This is
That's
our
it.
first ever 3. All agreed.
Yeah.
3 trifecta.
Trifecta. I mean, do we
What
need
more
to
can you
rattle
say?
through it? Yeah,
Ryan
Yeah.
Pappenhausen, Jerome Hughes, Cameron Munster, Harry Grant.
and as you
Backed up
touched
by
on before,
Tyron Wishart.
the depth.
Jonah
Pezzett.
Pezzett.
Falongo.
Falongo.
Jonah Pezzett.
And a lot of NRL teams will take all 3 of those backups and put them straight into their side.
Totally. Totally.
What else?
And
they're just
I think
good.
they're very well set up, aren't they? And we've seen this quartet play together for a long time now. But that's
It's just injuries. That's their only concern is injuries.
yeah.
And if they Pappenhausen's already missing the start of the year, so can they really afford to kind of miss him for 2 to 3 weeks? Then it comes into 6 to 8 weeks. They do have the depth, as you said, but having their top 4 players on the field in the spine position just unlocks them, I think.
And I think we know what Grant and Hughes bring. That
100%.
they're going to consistently deliver, but Munster and Pappenhausen have those question marks over them just because of the last 12, 18 months. But yeah, I think on paper, they're the best spine. All right?
Absolutely. All right. Final 2 award categories.
Yes.
First of all, the most valuable ex-player. One of my favourite categories. Who's of the ex-players that are either getting into the media game or, some other kind of side of post-footy life.
Yep.
Who's giving back to the game? Who do we like seeing on our screens, on our radios, et cetera, on our podcasts? Try kick us off?
Go for it, mate.
I've gone for a friend of the show, Aaron Woodsy Woods.
Yes. Yeah.
He's already giving back to the game in terms of the work he's doing over in Vegas as we
100%.
speak.
Yeah.
He is bloody doing the work. Couple weeks over there before the footy's even kicked.
I
He's been popping up in WWE. He's everywhere. But then also on the other side of that, he's doing Triple M breakfast and always, he's the go-to man at Triple M now when it comes to rugby league things.
Yeah.
And he speaks positive of the game. He's an absolute footy nerd.
Yeah.
I think he's just a great advocate for rugby league.
And and being biased because we get to work with them, but there's no ego. He just wants to get in and get stuck in, and seeing him go and promote the game the way he has in Vegas. I don't know if there's another player that could do it like he has.
Yeah.
I think he's been fantastic for the game.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm just going to piggyback off this because he was my pick as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know him I don't work alongside him, but the way that he goes about his sort of ambassadorial duties, I think this time he spent over in Vegas and all the content that he's putting out there from that is just cemented his place. Media is his world now. He's got all the insight of being, you know, a recently retired player, and all those contacts. And, you know, sometimes when he talks about footy, you can see like he's just reliving it.
Yeah.
Like it's still fresh. Yeah. Like, it's like he sort of gets lost in it a bit. And you love that. And it's hard to think of another player, as you said, that could be doing what he's doing at the moment. So it's great that we'll hear more from him on the airwaves and hopefully see more of him throughout the year in the media space.
As much as I do love Woodsy, I actually went with Sean Johnson.
Okay.
First year out of the game, and I think it's going to be so valuable to the insight. And like he's obviously on his own podcast, Play on Sports, the media, the social stuff that he's doing at the moment for the Wars is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think there'll be some opportunities where he'll be on Fox Sports this year where he's going to be able to break down games and talk about that. And I think having someone much like Aaron Woods who's just removed from the game and we're able to break the game down, talk about the game is quite invaluable for the fan. And I think that's why someone like I 100% respect Matty Johns because of the way his footy brain works and Cooper Cronk. And when those guys do their podcast together, it's just like incredible listening. And I think someone like Sean Johnson be able to bring that is just going to like just really open a lot of people's eyes and give a lot of access to fans. And that's what fans want is kind of access to like, how's the game work? What can you do to promote it? You know, and everyone, I don't know anyone who doesn't love him.
And he's kind of the first one like from New Zealand, based in New Zealand, to be getting into this side. Because like obviously, you know, like Stacey Jones sort of disappeared for a while, popped up again in coaching. Like a lot of the Kiwi guys, because obviously there's not as much kind of opportunity when it comes to like mainstream media for the Kiwi guys. But kind of what podcasts have done is open up this world where, and it's almost why guys like Woodsy and SJ come at it with no ego as well, because they're kind of going straight from playing into a space that feels so much more accessible to fans than it used to be. Like Joey and stuff went straight into Channel 9. Yeah. They're not there sort of ground level. They've got producers, assistants, hair, makeup. It's not, you know, down on ground level.
Yeah, totally.
So and, I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, going off that, I think as well with someone like Sean Johnson, it's exciting to see his insight to the game when he's been such an instinctive player and he looks like he plays off the cuff all the time, and he did at times. Yeah. But that's how fans know him. But if we can get some deeper analysis and his breakdown and showing just how calculated, you know, his mind works and how he breaks down the game and what he's actually looking for, that'd be pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
It totally would be. All right, this is the big one. Player of the year. The Silver Fanny, if you will. Don't know if that name really took off, but I've always called it the Silver Fanny. Obviously, Golden Fanny's Fan of the Year, which we're not necessarily predicting today, but Silver Fanny, Player of the Year. Well, actually, does anyone else want to kick it off?
I've got Nico Hines.
Nico.
For similar reasons why I went character. It's sort of a lot of my predictions building into Nico getting Player of the Year because I think Sharks are going to have a great year. He's coming at it from a place where it is a bit different to most others. And I think he copped a fair bit of criticism last year, rightly or wrongly. But I just think he's the type of bloke that bounces back and feeds off it well.
An injury as well towards you, broke his leg at training or whatever. And it's like, you could tell basically from the first half of that season, dead set perfect, Origin, spiral gone. And that was that, you know?
So I reckon he's ready to get back to his best, and I'm excited for it.
Yep. Steve?
I went for Jerome Hughes. Back-to-back LEMs.
Wow.
I just think the way...
Back-to-back Silver Fannies. Wow.
I know.
That's incredible.
I know, that's...
Wow.
I mean, you know, I'm sure if we let him know he's done that, I think he'd be taking a lot of prestige out of that as well. But I just look... I just think... Like, I'll keep talking, you guys keep laughing.
We'll just giggle.
Just giggle.
I just... Who's going to stop Melbourne?
Yeah.
Who's going to stop them?
Fair enough. But we're also we've also predicted them to be less hit by injury. So are players stealing points off each other?
And I think that's where Origin comes into it, and he's not playing. So I just
I think because this is a fan vote player of the year.
That's true.
Like for
It doesn't work the
it
same as Dally M.
works like that. That's more of a factor. I think fans get a better understanding of players just have a good year, regardless of whether their team's playing. They don't have to divvy up points, right?
I know.
So
It's a shame that the Fannies didn't kick off the year before because I think SJ would have won the Silver Fanny.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how it is. I've gone Nathan Cleary.
Nice.
Believe it or not.
wow.
Yeah. And if we just reference our brother award show, he's never won a Dally M before. But I think maybe with Jerome Luai no longer there,
Yeah.
he'll be playing alongside much younger halves. It really does become Nathan's,
Oh yeah.
season.
Well, he's still got his halfback there. Isaiah.
Isaiah, he's got his halfback, yeah.
So
Play outside him.
yeah, it's hard to knock him, right?
Yeah, so I just think if he stays on the field, he'll, a lot more attention going his way, a lot more wins off the back of his game. So there you go.
Huge.
Nathan, Jerome, and who'd you go for again, Harvey? Nico.
Nico.
There you go. Sorry.